Breath is key for adults and kids. It's just to control your breath, and it means that you slow down and you get centered, and there's enough oxygen coming in your brain. Okay, so you notice that part. And then the idea of working with visualization, imagination. If you even want to go to Pandora and just type in meditation or something like that, there'll be music that comes up that you can do in your home, just having it on a regular basis. But using that as background to something like coloring or painting or drawing or something, it stimulates some of what we call these higher centers. And the kids who are spiritually gifted, it's like it's manna to them.
Sports can save a child or a youth from getting into other things. It can also obviously focus a child, and for a spiritually gifted child or youth or even adult, doing a sport, practicing that visualization, it helps with your giftedness as well.
One of the things that happens with these spiritually gifted kids is that they often fall in the ADHD thing because they're just intense, right? They are just super intense. And there are things that you can do, and I don't want to get into it right now, but you can certainly go online and check. But taking sugar out of their diets just alone is huge. But I, as a psychologist, am just horrified at, like, this little boy who's 3 years old is on meds. And there are other ways of for them to be able to handle that besides. But diet is certainly one of the things that you may want to look into if you have kids like that. Exercise, and by that I can suggest that the kids are very receptive to things like yoga. If you want to do simple yoga things with them. If you're familiar with Tai Chi, you can just you can order a video and put it on, and it's just simple movements that immediately calm the body down and allow people to really get connected. Christy?
In our electronic world that we live in, not only for kids, but it's good for adults too. When they're with those iPads and the TV and the games, and get them outside, get their shoes off, get their feet to the ground, to the grass. That helps to take that electromagnetic static out of their system and helps to ground them back again. It's good for us as adults too, to just rub our feet in the grass.
A couple of families I know that have just absolutely added instruments to their family meditation. So they have drums, they have penny whistles, they have chimes, and just the vibration, particularly of some of those instruments, just has an effect of just, because these kids get way too wired. And then we're adding electronics on top of everything else. Okay, and then a scheduled listening time. And I have a friend who reminded me about the listening time that happens if you lie down next to the child before they go to sleep and just, let things come. You'll start finding out all kinds of other things that are happening. And I'm going to include in this that they may let you know that that guy does show up in the hall in the middle of the night. I see him. And he still comes. And we have to say, I'm talking about a spirit, not a real guy. Okay. That we really have to take that seriously, and we have to say, what can I do? What can we do? What are some of the steps that we can take to get rid of him?
Don't be afraid, because that realm is right here all the time. Sometimes our eyes, we're able to see it, sometimes we aren't. But recognize, letting them know that you validate, even though you might not see it or feel it, that you validate that something is there or someone is there. I'm going to explain a little bit. Sometimes there's what's called earthbound spirits. Now, these spirits have lived in this earth time, and they're kind of stuck in a particular realm of space, a dimension. They haven't moved on yet. And so a lot of times they come because they still live in their fear energy as well. And they like to be drawn to others who either can see them or that are in that same kind of energy that they'll be comfortable with. And we don't feel comfortable when we feel something or see someone, but they might feel comfortable. Then you've got those that are the spirits of darkness, and you've got the spirits of light, to tell the kids. So the littler ones, I have them ask, is it a light spirit of light, or one that has darkness? And they'll let you know. And so, or if it's so much of the darkness, easy, quick for these little kids. Angels come quick. Just say, angels come quick, and ask for the help of the angels to come and help remove the ones of darkness away. But also, those are like the earthbounds. You can ask. I see that you're coming often. You're here. What do you want? What do you want me to do? And they'll be able to either help say, I'm stuck, or I want to move mom, I don't know how, or I need a message to be given to so-and-so that or whatever. Just don't be afraid of them. They're like us.
But if you have a child who is seeing spirits at night and who gets freaked out, what do you do about it?
I have sat with them and have been with them to dismiss them, basically, because if you want to take the time to find out if this is a spirit that did have a body and is deceased and is stuck, or if this is a spirit that never had a body, the commonality is that it's scaring the child. So, and if it's repetitive, if it's happening frequently or more than once, then just to dismiss it. You can say a multiplicity of things. Go to the light. You're not welcome here. You can use the name of the Savior and just dismiss the spirit.
And would you have the child with you while you were doing that? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely, to empower them and even have them do it. You do it because and pray always. I've always prayed with them too, and they have always said, you pray. But then I get them to pray too, or I'll say part of the prayer and they'll say the prayer, so that they feel empowered
Good.
and validated.
Yeah.
Just like Christy was saying.
Donna, you want to add anything?
Yeah, this was one of my biggest traumas as a child. I was terrified of night, especially one home we lived in that found out later had been sort of people that had been doing drugs, selling drugs and doing things that were unsavory in that home. And I couldn't stand it at night. I could see people walking the halls and they were not nice people. And I wish I had had moms to teach me these kind of things. But the other thing too is that even if children can't, as I got older and I prayed for that visual to be taken away because it was so frightening to me. But that turned off, but other senses turned on. I would get stomach aches. I would have all kinds of physical things like headaches, I remember stomach aches the worst. And as soon as I had that, I remember thinking, oh, now what is it? Do I have to look or something? So even paying attention sometimes to ailments that are psychosomatic can be useful, because I prayed. I mean, I was a praying fool as a little kid. And, and I would try to visualize light bubbles around me, or, different barriers between myself and the others. So I just sort of made it so only what I wanted could come through that barrier of wherever I was. And I can read under any circumstances. I mean, there could be absolute crazy chaos around me, and I just tune it all out. I just kind of say, nope, this is my book. This is me in the book. That's it. And it's a really helpful kind of thing to have, when, especially if you feel like you're in an environment that might be sort of hostile to you or your gifts. You just, me and my friend, whoever's here with me, just stay in.
Yeah, that's perfect. I also want to say that, to help them find a vocabulary that expresses their intuitive and spiritual experiences. Okay, we don't even have a vocabulary particularly anyway. I mean, I'm a writer, and trying to describe somebody's spiritual experiences, we only have a few words for it. So to spend time with your child and help them find ways of expressing what's going on with them is very helpful.